The Chicago Bears played their first regular season game of the 2024 season, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. We're going to get into all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. So, of course, this whole episode is going to be built around takeaways, thoughts, ideas, statistics, all the type of things coming out of the Chicago Bears' first regular season game that they played yesterday against the Tennessee Titans. This was a game where I said it on the post-game show, initial reactions, there wasn't a whole lot of positivity to take away from the offense. The defense, that's another story. We'll talk about both sides of that. But the offense, it was a rough go for the Chicago Bears offense, right? And if you've been listening to me, C-Dub, Bobby, Big Kev, Steve-O for a while, we all kind of expected it to be a little rough to start with the offense. Now, I will say this, admittedly, I didn't think it would be as rough as what it was yesterday. I want to be clear there. Even in me saying give the offense a little bit of time to get revved up, to get going, things like that, I did not expect it to look that way. The most important thing is that the Bears got the dub, right? I want to be clear there. That is the most important thing, is that you got the win, right? But we need to be better offensively, and we're going to have to find a way as a team to be extremely better in our execution and play calling from the coaching staff as well. That we just have to be better than that. Third down efficiency, 2 for 13 is 15%. That's not going to cut it, right? Only 148 total yards of offense. That's not going to cut it, especially if this team wants to be a playoff team. You're just not going to cut it, right? The defense, much better second half than first half, but the offense, it was a struggle throughout most of it. Now, one of the things, if you're trying to pull out any type of positive from this offense, they didn't turn the ball over, right? And those type of things make a difference, right? They did. The offense didn't hurt what the defense was trying to do. Didn't help it, right? And that's one thing that we have to be better at. And Caleb Williams understands that as well. Caleb saying this after the game. It's great to get the first win. We're all excited. We went to the locker room and celebrated. I sat down, enjoyed the moment, just watching our guys celebrate and understanding that I need to do better and I will be better. And one of the things that I've talked about so often this offseason that some Bears fans did not agree with, they want Caleb Williams to be the perfect version of Caleb Williams right away, and I understand that excitement, is that to see how Caleb Williams responds to failing is going to tell me personally what I need to know about Caleb Williams as the future quarterback of the Chicago Bears team. It's not about getting to the 4,000 yards. It's not about necessarily getting to the 30 touchdowns. It's about how do you respond to failing. That's what I want to see. How do you adapt to your failures? That's what I want to see from Caleb Williams over the course of this first NFL season. If he can hit the accolades, if he can hit the 4,000 yards, if he can hit the 30 touchdowns, great. I'm never going to say let's not get that. But I think the most important thing that I am looking for is the growth and the development of Caleb Williams. And we'll see, man. Offense can't have this bad. This was terrible. And I want to make there's no sugarcoating that at all. Excitement over Caleb or not. Of course, you've got more kind of knee-jerk reactions from some Bears fans, especially with Justin Fields starting and things like that. That doesn't matter to me. Caleb is now the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. And the most important thing to me in this is how he develops over the course of this rookie year. We got to see it. He's going to make rookie mistakes. It's going to happen. And I will say this, he didn't play mistake-free football. He made some mistakes. He overthrew some passes, absolutely. The offensive line was trash. We'll get to that here in a second. But overall, hearing that quote from Caleb Williams is great, but we got to see the actions to back that up. And that's the most important thing for me in this next set of games from Caleb Williams, is seeing how his actions now back up that word of him saying, I will be better. So let me know what you guys think on that. There's some reasons for concern overall. One of the things when you look at it is, listen, the Bears offense just was not good yesterday. It's unfortunate. Like, you saw that the excitement that this game started off with from fans at Soldier Field, and it just wasn't, it was terrible. As a matter of fact, it was the first time that the Chicago Bears won a game with under 150 yards of total offense since 2006. We're talking about 18 years. That is the age of my oldest son. 18 years that it happened. That was in December of 2006. So it's a little bit under 18 years, but basically it's there. The Bears got to be better. Offensively, we absolutely have to be better. Keenan Allen also left that game with injury. We don't really know anything too more. Let's assume right now, because guys, I have PTSD. I'm going to assume that he misses a game. Maybe that's what I'll right now, and we'll see what happens with that. But Keenan Allen missing is definitely going to hurt that as well. And then one of the biggest things that were signed for concern on the defensive side of the ball is our run defense. Now, we were much better in the second half of that game. And if we're able to do that and be more like what we were in the second half of this game than the first half, cool, great. Have no problems there. But that run defense, that was something that we really got to look at, and we got to try to get underway as a football team. We have to figure out a way to be better in run defense. But overall, outside of those things, right? Caleb Williams definitely looked nervous. As much as he said he didn't get nervous, he was nervous out there. I think that's one thing that was evident. He was nervous. You can't take away from that. And yeah, let's see how he now getting those nerves out the way. Let's see how much better he is at that going forward for the rest of the games, because we're going to need Caleb Williams to be better. We're going to need overall this offense to be better. And a lot of that starts with Caleb Williams. And as a quarterback in the NFL, I've always said this, right or wrong, you are going to get the lion's share of the blame. You're also going to get a lion's share of the accolades, the acclaim if we are doing well. And you just got to take the bad with the good when you're an NFL quarterback. That's just what comes with it. And Caleb Williams is this next week, he's going to get a lot of the blame. And to see how he grows and develop from that, like I said, that's one of the most important things for me to look at over this. Outside of that, the interior offensive line and Coleman Shelton, super concerning. Coleman Shelton, who looked pretty good in preseason. This is why you always take preseason play with a grain of salt, both the good and the bad. Coleman Shelton didn't look good out there. And the interior offensive line didn't look good out there overall either. The interior offensive line as a whole was it was bad. It was bad. Coleman Shelton, even though Caleb Williams got credited for the fumble, it looked more like that was on Coleman Shelton, and that's not me trying to protect Caleb Williams. That's why I did say he made plenty of mistakes out there in that first game. But that interior offensive line specifically, we got some work to do there, and I will not be surprised at all if this continues, especially in week 2. If we're going into week 3 and we have another performance like this from our interior offensive line, Ryan Poles may very well be. He may be on the phone already, right? So that's something that we really have to look at as well. We got to be better on that interior offensive line. It just, there were times where Caleb Williams, especially playing in the shotgun, he would roll out, and before he can do anything, there was a defender in his face. And like I said, I'm not blaming some of the other mistakes all on that, but this offensive line, yeah, it gave up 2 sacks yesterday, but it very easily could have been more than that. And Caleb Williams' craftiness saved some of those plays, but the 2 sacks for 29 yards of loss there, it could have been way worse. And, it still shows that this offensive line has taken a step in the right direction with the way that we were getting pressure from the interior defensive line of the Titans. With our team last year, probably would have been a 5 or 6 sack day. So, we've gotten better, but it's still not good. And that's another sign for concern, because that's been something that has ailed this team for far, far too long, in my opinion. We got to get that together. Outside of that, the Velus Jones as a kick returner. Like, don't get me wrong, I got to give Velus credit. I'd say, I like to admit things, whatever. I like to be honest with things. But Velus Jones as a kick returner, at least, that shit's done. It's over with. It has to be done. You cannot keep putting yourself in a bad position because you want to keep trying this guy out as a kick returner. Maybe next year. Maybe he spends the rest of the year being a running back, and which he had a solid play running. He also had a solid play catching the ball as a wide receiver yesterday. And if Keenan Allen's going to be down and Tyler Scott, which we don't know yet, you may have to use Velus a little bit more as a wide receiver. But I tell you what, as a kick returner, it's done. It's finished. It's finito. We got to stop it. It's done. We can no longer look at that anymore and try to make a big thing out of it. But on the flip side of that, DeAndre Carter as a kick returner, listen here. Hey, sign me up. I don't know what to say about it. Like what he was as a specialist yesterday, DeAndre Carter did everything that we could want him to do. He set up the Bears, putting the first points on the board with a 62-yard kick return. On top of that, to start us off on the Titans side of the ball, which set up a field goal there. He caught 5 punts for 64 yards, averaging 12.8 yards per return. He had 131 total yards in return as well in that. And that would have been 17 yards away from having as much yards as the Chicago Bears offense as a whole was able to tally up. DeAndre Carter made an impact for the Chicago Bears yesterday. And then you also got to talk about that interior defensive line. Javon Dexter and Andrew Billings they got better as the game went on. Did they play a perfect game throughout it? No. I actually think that Javon Dexter had a pretty quiet first half, but they both stepped up big time in the second half of that game. And what they were able to do helped the Chicago Bears defense and what they were trying to do in the second half of that game as far as just completely snuffing out that offense in the second half of the game. 25 yards rushing after over 100 yards in the first half. 25 yards rushing is what we held the Tennessee Titans to in the second half of that game. And that came from the linebackers, that came from the interior defensive line, that came from DeMarcus Walker as well. We played a much better second half of football. And really, when you look at it, this game yesterday was won by the special teams and the defense. That is what won this game for the Chicago Bears. And the defense lived up to every bit of the hype in the second half that we wanted to see from the Bears team. Now, I will say, I hope that we see that more throughout a full game, but you're going to have a quarter or so. You're going to have some drives where maybe the defense isn't able to stop them. But when you look at overall in that game against the Tennessee Titans yesterday, the defense did enough to slow down the offense. You look at the third downs and things like that. Like, we were able to get them off the field more times than third downs or not. They went for it. They were 1 for 2 on fourth downs as well. We took care of business in a lot of the areas we needed to take care of business in. And that is important, at least to me, that we can do that. And it says a lot about how this defense, the potential of this defense, that top 5 potential of being a top 5 defense in the league, that's legitimate. That's real. And we've seen it before. We've been here before. 2006, one of those years that we can be a team that can make noise in the NFC via our defense. And it really feels like we have the makings of a defense that can make some noise for this team because of that alone. But we want to be more than that. We have to be more than that. And if we're not, listen, it's going to be an ugly season for the Chicago Bears yet again. And while you have some Bears fans that are, and I always say that this is weird, Bears fans that want to see aspects of the team be bad just so they can be right about something, you fuckers are weird. But outside of that, for the criticisms, for the critique, for the pessimism, the Bears offense proved a lot of that right yesterday in the way that they played. You got to get those things together. So, overall, like I said, there were some good things in this game. The defense definitely being one of those. The special teams definitely being one of those. And we just got to perform a lot better than what we did. And if we can't do that, if this is going to be who the Chicago Bears offense is going to be this season, it's going to be ugly. And that's all you can say about that. And we want more. We have more talent than that, right? We have more talent than to be in the place where we're looking at this defense yet again. Looking at this offense yet again and saying this is going to be another season where the offense completely and utterly kills us. We don't want or need or don't deserve to be. We are way too talented to be in that position right now. And I hope that this Bears team proves some of this, right, wrong, whatever it is. But we got to right this ship offensively. And we're looking at Caleb Williams for sure to be part of that. And if they can't be, listen, it's going to be an ugly season if that can't be the case. And so let's hope so. I'm not going to, Steve-O's more upset about it, right? If you guys saw the post-game show, I'm trying to be more level-headed about it. I'm giving them until week 3, and that's just my personal choice in that, to try to show that they can turn this thing around and what they can be. But listen, if we're going to be missing Keenan Allen, if we're going to be missing Tyler Scott, those are big weapons for the Chicago Bears team. And we got to adapt, right? And one thing with this as well, the coaching does not get a pass from me. Looking at Shane Waldron, we thought coming into this, we were going to be run a lot more 2 tight end sets. We didn't do that. And that, if we're going to not run those 2 tight end sets to take advantage of where we can have some mismatches at, what the fuck are we doing, right? Especially while we're struggling offensively. We have to be better than that. Execution has to be better. And if execution is not going to be better, we're going to struggle. And so, I'm really looking at those things. I know I've been harping on the negative a lot in this, so let's flip it and talk about the positive. DJ Moore is really the only positive on the offensive side of the ball to me. 10 receptions out of in that time. I'm sorry, not 10 receptions. 5 receptions out of 8 targets from DJ Moore, 36 yards. But if you watch that game, while the stats not going to stick out to you, DJ Moore made a big difference for that offense in yesterday's game. But then if you look at the defense, it's all good from the defense. TJ Edwards, Jaquan Brisker, Darrell Taylor were completely everything that we needed them to be. Not to mention the pick to save the game, to seal the game from Jalen Johnson, the pick 6 from Tyreek Stevenson to also push us into that area. this defense overall, TJ Edwards, 15 total tackles, 10 of those being solo, 2 tackles for a loss in that time as well. Darrell Taylor came in and 2 sacks in that time as well, 2 QB hits. Darrell Taylor was everything that we needed him to be. And Jaquan Brisker was all up and down that field, stopping, putting pressure on people. Javon Dexter a lot better in the second half of this game, 1 sack as well, 2 QB hits in that time period. Tremaine Edmonds in coverage was really solid. So we ran some really good things out there, and the way that we adapted in the second half of that game, I got to give them huge props to how that defense bent but didn't break. And well, in the first half, 17 points allowed in the first half of that game, 0 in the second half, a complete shutout in the second half of that game. That's what you want to see from your Chicago Bears defense. And so I got to give them credit for how they adjusted, how they handled things. They get a lot of credit for that. But we got to be better throughout the full 4 quarters of the game, because I tell you what, against Houston, a lot of the shit that passed and that kept the Bears from being completely out of the game, right? Luckily, we didn't throw interceptions, right? We didn't have a lot of turnovers, but we got to be better at the execution part of it. And that's my thought process. But, I know we do the mailbags on Fridays and Saturdays, but especially after the game, we like to get in some of the voicemails. We're going to go ahead and play 2 here. This one's from Darius.
What's going on, man? There's from Dallas here. I had to wait until I wasn't drunk and pissed off no more. Go and make this call here. And I'm still kind of pissed off. We got the W. But we did exactly what I was afraid of. We thought because we have Caleb now that we can be pass happy and just not run the goddamn football. Just completely abandoned the run game. And Swift probably had maybe 7 touches, 8 touches or something like that. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. The defense, I don't know what's going on with the run stopping, but we were letting some pretty mediocre running backs run all over us. It's crazy we didn't lose this game, man. Shout out to the special teams. Shout out to Jonathan Owens. I mean, we had some good defensive plays there at the end, but as a whole, this defense is not what we thought it was. This defense is not what we thought it was. No, it's still early. I know we still got time. But Caleb, we're just basically handing this boy the rock like he's Aaron Rodgers and say, go ahead, go throw 40, 50 times a game. That's not how you develop him, man. Now, Eberflus, Nick Saban sat you down in your office and told you not to do that. And you did it anyway. I don't know, man. I hope this ain't an indicator of how the season's going to go, because I can't do this no more. Texas up, here I am.
Listen, I feel you, bro. Like, I mean, everything that I was kind of worried about as well, listen, it was there. A lot of the things that I thought were going to be strengths were strengths yesterday. A lot of the things that I thought was going to be concerns were. Some of the things I didn't think was going to be a concern were as well. Coleman Shelton to me was somebody I really looked at and said, hey, man, he's going to be extremely good for us this season, much better than what we were last season. And he just wasn't. The play calling wasn't good at all. We abandoned the run game, like you said, absolutely. DeAndre Swift actually looked like he was going to get in some momentum at one point in time, and then we moved away from it. All those things shape up to be, and I don't think many Bears fans are going to argue or disagree with you on that. It was ugly, and we have to be better. We have to be better. If we're not going to be better than that offensively, it's going to be a long time. And so, listen, we got to be better. Caleb has to be better. The offense has to be better. I love that you pointed out Jonathan Owens. We got to give him credit on that one as well. We have to be better. And Shane Waldron has to have better balance between the pass and the run. And if we don't, we're going to be one-dimensional, we're going to be ugly, and we're just not going to get to where we want to get to or where this team has the talent to get to if we're going to be a one-dimensional team. We have to be better. And if we're not, it's going to be ugly. All right, let's get into this next voicemail. This one's from Vaughn from the low end.
Yo, CBC. It's Big Vaughn from the low end, man. Tapping in once again. Hey, Bears win, Bears win, Bears win. The Bears. You hear me? It's exciting time to be a Chicago Bears fan, man. So I'm going to get right into it. Let's get the negative out the way before we go to the positive. Valus Jones, D12, my dog. Tennessee Volunteers finest. Yes, assed out, 26 years old, 3 years in the league. You just don't got that, my boy. You just don't got it. It's okay. I wish you nothing but the best. But if they don't give V12 his damn walking papers, oh my God. And another thing, everybody complaining about the O-line And I feel like the O-line played fairly well for who they went up against. They going against Jeffrey Simmons and them boys. Them boys some dogs. Tavondre Sweat and them boys. Like, them boys is real mammoths up front. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, our line held our own. But, hey, Coleman Shelton, don't make us put a case out on you. I'm watching you very, very closely, man. I was getting PTSD sitting in my truck watching the game. He getting blown up at the line of scrimmage looking like Sam Mustafa. Oh, my God. Hey, we need to fix that. Whether we got to rotate, try Ryan Bates at the center, Doug Kramer. But Coleman Shelton, he just ain't it, man. He ain't looking too hard. I know it's the first game, but I don't like PTSD. It's PTSD. You feel me? But, man, the defense did they due diligence. Hey, our line is looking better than I thought, guys. Hey, let me know what y'all think. Secondary, we swarming. The backers was backing. You know what I'm saying? Came up in the offense. We're going to save that for another week. We're going to see how they fare against the Texans. But, man, you got to be excited, guys. C-Dub, Bobby, hey, Steve-O, Big Kev, holla at your boys. Big Von from the low end. Let me know how y'all feeling, man. Love y'all, boys. Keep doing what y'all doing. Chicago up. Bet down, baby. Let's get it. Bears win.
Yeah, listen, get the negative out the way. I agree with you on that one as well. I mean, listen, this was ugly. The offensive line played extremely poor, as you pointed out. And we're going to have to figure it out. I don't know if Ryan Bates, which, Matt Eberflus already said something, Ryan Bates at the right guard. We got to figure something out on this offensive line, and we got to find the right balance. We thought we had it because they played solid. They played okay in preseason. But if you have another game like this, you got to start making some changes. And I'll tell you what, Nate Davis, I haven't seen, the Pro Football Focus grades or anything like that yet. We'll probably break that down tomorrow, but not that matters. The eye test, Nate Davis was trash yesterday. And when you talk about getting PTSD, hey, bro, I feel you, man. We talked about it yesterday. That play calling yesterday was not too different from Luke Getsy. It was better, right? It was better, but it wasn't too different in the sense that you look at it and you say, hey, we made this change to this highly coveted offensive coordinator. We got to be better. And that's just the thing that it keeps coming to. But overall, I'll say this. I love that we won the game. I got to give them credit for winning the game, but we have to be better. And let's hope that we are. But, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.